Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. On today's afternoon show, PSG set a ridiculous price for Ugarte. I want the player, I know a lot of you guys want the player, but the price that they're putting on his head at the moment for me is a no. It's a no. And I think it's a ridiculous demand considering what they paid for him a year ago. We're going to talk about that. The option to loan him seems to be non-existent right now. And also, Jared Branthwaite, a cheap deal could be on the horizon as Everton's new ownership deal falls through and they are back in a precarious position in terms of funds. They need money. They need money desperately, and Branthwaite could be an asset they could be selling for a cheaper fee than what they originally wanted. And what I would say on that is it really does open the doors for Manchester United to really have a go at getting that Branthwaite deal over the line and make a cheeky little offer in there. So we're going to talk about that as well. I mean, a few days ago, Everton fans really weren't happy that we weren't going to spend £70 million on Jared Branthwaite. And now they're in a position where their ownership deal might have fallen through, which is unfortunate for them. It honestly is. But at the same time, Manchester United could benefit from it. But welcome everybody to the United Stand. Welcome to the afternoon show. Get all your comments in down below. Let me know all your opinions as per usual. And let's get into the news. So, it is coming out that PSG are open to negotiations for Ugarte, but would only do a sale as a loan with an obligation to buy rather than a straightforward loan. So they would be open to a loan with an obligation to buy, which means you have to buy them at the end of it. But a straightforward loan is off the table, which, to be honest, I always thought was going to be the case anyway. I'm not fussed about the fact they won't just let us loan him. I get that they'll eventually want money for him, whether that's now or whether that's an obligation to buy. It's the amount of money that they're asking for, which I think is a massive problem and really does put the cat amongst the pigeons. INEOS are in a position where they're going to have to negotiate hard, they're going to have to play hardball in my opinion, and they might even have to threaten to walk away. I don't think it'll get to that point because PSG realistically want to sell Ugarte to fund João Neves, so I don't really think they have much of a leg to stand on. But the price they're asking for currently is €70 million. So it's coming in from Pletigol and Jack Talbot as well that club sources at PSG value Ugarte at €70 million, given his young age and the fact that his contract isn't up until June 2028. As well as at Manchester United, clubs in Italy and Spain are thought to be keen, as well as another Premier League club. Well, let's put a pin in that straight away. I don't think any club in Italy or Spain are willing to drop €70 million on Ugarte. They might be keen on him, but no one really has like huge amounts of money to be spending in this transfer window, especially in Europe. The Premier League is quite a wealthy league, but in Europe, there's not that much money to go around. And I highly doubt that there's clubs in Spain or Italy that are going to drop €70 million on Ugarte. So I think you can rule that out straight away. Another Premier League club's interested? Probably, but nothing's really come to light yet. So until that really does become a competition, I think Manchester United are absolutely fine. I think this is just PSG trying to drum up the interest for Ugarte and drum up the bid from Manchester United. But €70 million, what do you think about that in the chat? I've seen a lot of people, I complained about this on Twitter, and what I said on Twitter is, I checked, right, and PSG paid €60 million originally for Ugarte last summer, which is £51.1 million. So they originally paid €60 million, and you're telling me that a year later, they want an extra €10 million than what they actually originally paid for an asset that they're trying to get rid of to bring in somebody else that isn't really fondly liked by their manager, that they could really do with moving on. I mean, for me, that's crazy talk. Like, it really is crazy talk. I like Ugarte. I've said it on the show multiple times. I said it last night. No matter how many Twitter threads that you draw up for me, it's not going to make me change my mind about Ugarte. I've seen so many people on Twitter saying they don't think Ugarte is good enough. I really like him. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I hold my hands up and I say, you know what, I got that wrong. But based on what I've seen of the player, I really like him and I think he'd be a really good addition to Manchester United. I think he brings something we don't already have in terms of a profile for in a midfielder. I think he brings really good energy. I think, you know, the way that he gets about the pitch, I think his hunger, his aggression, I think it's exactly what we need in that midfield. I really do like him. And also, I trust INEOS and the scouts and the competent people we now have at the club to pick the right midfielder to bring in. I really do. So I trust INEOS so far in the way that they're moving. If they do anything to make me not trust them, then I'd tell you guys. But at the moment, they're moving really nicely and I trust exactly what they're doing. I trust the people they have in place. My faith is in them. And plus, I've always liked Ugarte. I liked him last summer. I still like him now. I think one dodgy season, which, to be honest, people act as if he was really poor at PSG. He wasn't really poor. He just isn't in favour of the manager, and they do actually have some really good midfielders. And Luis Enrique just likes a different style of midfielder. That's what it is. Just because Luis Enrique isn't the biggest fan doesn't mean he doesn't suit the way Erik ten Hag wants to play. So I really like Ugarte. And I like him a lot, and I would be excited if we brought him to Manchester United. But asking for, it works out at £59 million when you bought him for 51, when you're looking to move him on to pay for João Neves. So you're basically trying to drum up our price so you can go and pay for João Neves. For me, just isn't the right way for us to go about it. I think Manchester United have to play hardball on this one, and I would be looking at the 45 million mark, to be honest. I would be. I get he's 23. I get he's got a long contract, and so many people were like replying to me on Twitter when I said that I thought 70 million euros was too high, saying, "Well, what do you expect when you go and pay 62 million euros for someone with a year left on his deal from the French league in Lenny Yoro?" Lenny Yoro and Ugarte are different players. Lenny Yoro, we had competition in from Real Madrid, and no disrespect to Ugarte, because I actually do really want to bring him in, but Lenny Yoro is perceived as one of the best up-and-coming talents of his generation, and that's not me exaggerating. Like, he's seen as a generational talent, and we had to do everything we could to bring him in. Ugarte's a good player. He's only 23. He's young, but nobody's looking at Ugarte thinking he's a generational talent right now. He looks good, and I think he would come in and do a good job, and I would be excited to sign him. But it's two different prospects for me, and PSG realistically want to move him on to bring João Neves in. So for me, this is just PSG trying to get as much money as they can out of us so they can put it towards their João Neves deal. And I don't think Manchester United should fall for that. I think we have a really strong negotiating power. One, because we've got people in place that actually know what they're doing. Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, and everybody else that we've got in place that INEOS have brought in. But two, because PSG realistically need to move him on, because I don't think he's part of Luis Enrique's plans, and they want to bring João Neves in. So I think we hold out a little bit longer. Ugarte has already verbally agreed terms with Manchester United, which we already know. He's eager to join up at Old Trafford. Recruitment chiefs at United have admired the player since his days at Sporting, when Chelsea, Liverpool and Newcastle also expressed interest in the player. Getting to Ugarte to Old Trafford is no problem. Like, he wants to come. And this is the nice thing, like, you know, when a player wants to come, he wants to be part of the project, and he'd come in and he'd start for Manchester United. It's getting that fee with PSG, which I do think this deal will take a little bit of time, to be honest with you. I don't think it'll be as quick as the others. But, you know, United might have to threaten to walk away. They might have to, because 70 million euros is too much. But I do eventually think we'll compromise at a price. But get in the comments down below, what price would you deem suitable for Manuel Ugarte? And I've actually got a little bit more information on Ugarte as well for some people who maybe are a little bit unsure about him. But I feel like in this community, the majority of us are quite a big fan of Ugarte, and I would have to say I'd be excited to bring him in. A lot of people saying that we have to go for Neves. We don't. Right, I've said this so many times, so I'm just going to say it really quickly. As much as I think João Neves is an excellent talent, I don't think he fits Manchester United's midfield in terms of we need height. We need height in there. And Ugarte isn't the biggest player, I get that. But João Neves and Manu together, I feel like it is, with Bruno Fernandes, there's not enough physicality in there, in my personal opinion. There's not. We're not going to get João Neves, so there's not even any point talking about it. And there is a reason we're going for Ugarte, which I'll bring up in a second. Keel Robinson says, Rabiot and Amrabat seems like more of a viable option. A lot of people in the chat, 40 plus 5, £40 million. And 40 to £50 million is where I'm seeing you guys set your expectations on Manuel Ugarte. And I'm going to be honest, I'm right there with you on that. That's exactly the route I would go down. I would at first test the waters. I'd probably go with, like, I don't know, £35 million bid with 10 million in add-ons, take up to 45. They'll probably reject that, and then you move up to the 40 to £50 million mark, and that's where hopefully we should land with PSG. I expect this deal to happen because INEOS have shown they can get deals done. When we enter a race, so far we have won it. So I would like to see us get this deal done, and I think we will. I just think it will take a little bit more time than what has happened on previous deals. But, you know, the Yoro one we were working on before the season even ended as well, which was kind of kept quiet behind the scenes for a while. So, you know, we'll be working on these deals for a long time, and I do think we'll end up getting the end goal with this, and I do think Ugarte will end up coming. Obviously, we've got to sell Casemiro or McTominay to help that happen as well, which won't be easy, but McTominay apparently has got quite a few offers coming in, and fingers crossed, I'm hoping Kante does leave Al Ittihad and go to West Ham, because apparently they're interested in him, and that means Al Ittihad are in the market for a CDM. Casemiro, hello. I'll drive the Uber to the airport, thank you very much. That's what I'm kind of hoping is the domino effect of the transfer window. And Kante would be a huge signing for West Ham, but we'll see. There was links to Al Ittihad and Casemiro previously. Apparently the interest is cooled, but that would be, I mean, that would be ideal, to be honest with you, because that's the only way we're probably going to shift Casemiro on is through the Saudi Pro League. But just before we do move on to Jared Branthwaite, because that's a really exciting topic that we can talk about, and it's actually quite big breaking news, to be honest, how it could affect that Branthwaite transfer. I seen this put out there earlier, and I don't know, I can't remember the account that put it out, so forgive me for that, but really interesting actually. Data MB did a search across the top 7 leagues to find the perfect midfield partner for Bruno Fernandes and Manu, and the result was Manuel Ugarte. Top 7 leagues, age 24 or under, defensive actions 25 plus percentile, forward pass percentage 80 plus percentile, and the result was Manuel Ugarte. This was done based upon Manuel Ugarte's last season at Sporting Lisbon. So when he was actually, you know, playing the way that we know he can. I know we had a little, to be honest, he wasn't poor at PSG, he just didn't really hit the ground running at PSG, and Luis Enrique, I don't really think fancied him compared to his other options, but people who are saying Manuel Ugarte isn't going to work with Bruno and Manu, the data literally shows it will, and I do feel like this transfer is probably very data-driven from Manchester United, as we know that we're going to incorporate that into our scouting a lot more. Ten Hag approves, I've already said a million times, I think he fits Ten Hag's style of play. I think he's a Ten Hag sort of player, and obviously Dan Ashworth and the scouts that we've got involved in this are proving it as well. It works out data-wise. I think it'd be a good signing. So everyone who's saying, oh, I don't think it would work, maybe you'll end up being right, but the data shows it probably will. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I thought it was really interesting to actually bring up into the show. And with people worried about the fact he didn't fully work at PSG, I mean, not many signings have worked at PSG, have they? Really? Like, really thinking about it. Like, genuinely. Gonzalo Ramos went there after having a brilliant season, and he's fallen off a cliff. Who else has gone there and not really lit it up? Quite a few players have not managed to hit the ground running at PSG. And plus, you know, like I was saying, he might not be Luis Enrique's taste, but, you know, for example, my favourite chocolate is Oreo chocolate. Your favourite chocolate might be like Terry's chocolate orange. I'm not a huge fan of like chocolate orange. I know, crazy, because a lot of people like it. But I really like Oreo chocolate. Doesn't mean they're both, one's bad and one's good. Like, they're both good, but it's to different people's tastes. So I think Ugarte would be absolutely fine coming in at Manchester United, because I think he fits what Erik ten Hag is trying to do. A lot of people saying, you see, people are getting down in the chat who, I'm partial to a Terry's chocolate orange at Christmas time, to be fair, but it's got to be Terry's chocolate orange. Any other chocolate orange is an absolute no-go for me. Someone said Kante to United confirmed. Not happening, unless I'm absolutely missing something there. And a lot of people getting in players that haven't fully worked out in PSG, exactly. So that stuff doesn't worry me. That stuff doesn't worry me. Messi, I don't think Messi flopped at PSG. I wouldn't say he flopped, but I don't think he hit the heights of what people were expecting. And that has been a common denominator with PSG over the years. But anyway, that's the update on Ugarte. Can't be paying 70 million euros for him, especially without shifting McTominay or Casemiro. And we shouldn't be paying that anyway, but hopefully, I think we will end up compromising on the price. But that's a little bit of a spanner in the works that could slow down this deal a little bit. But let's move on to the Branthwaite stuff as well. Let's talk a little bit about Jared Branthwaite. So, I don't know if any of you guys heard, but earlier on today, David Ornstein put out an interesting bit on the Everton takeover. So the group that was supposed to take over Everton as part of their, it was an ownership takeover. It's off. It's off. The exclusive talks for the last 4 weeks were withdrew from negotiations yesterday due to concerns about debt to previous proposed buyers. It puts Everton back in a precarious position financially. So Everton's takeover at the moment is off, and it doesn't look like it's going to be back on. Romano's reported it, the Athletics reported it. Everton's takeover is off. This puts them back in a financially precarious position. Everton could need to sell. Branthwaite is their biggest asset. Them holding on out for £70 million for Branthwaite, I don't think they can stand on that high horse anymore. I really don't, considering the position they're going to be in. With this new takeover that they were going to get, they could do that because they were financially in the clear. Branthwaite is a very good asset. I still think he's a quality player. They could demand high amounts. And, if no one came to the table, they could afford to keep him for another year and see who's there next year. I still don't think anyone would be paying £70 million. Like I said, no one was queuing up to pay £70 million. If no one's willing to pay the price that you've set, it's probably because you've set a price too high. It's like when you put a house on the market. Your house might be beautiful. It might be lovely. It might have the amazing garden views. It might have everything going for it. But if you've put it way too high for what it's actually worth, nobody's going to be coming knocking on the door to buy it. Doesn't mean the house is bad. The house is lovely. You've just marketed it way too high, and it'll be sat on the market for months, if not years. That's what I've done with that's what I feel like they've done with Branthwaite. I think a lot of people get misinterpreted. Branthwaite is a quality player, left-footed, 21 years old, high ceiling. Would love to bring him into Manchester United, not for £70 million. For me, it should be £55 million, pushing it 60 maximum, and that's where I draw the line at Branthwaite. So if I was Manchester United and I was seeing the news that this takeover is off and that Everton might be in a financially precarious position, I'd be saying, hang on a second, everyone. We should really try our luck with Branthwaite again. Why don't we go in with another bid? Why don't we try and get the discussions going back with Everton, which I think you could see potentially start to happen. Everton, it's unfortunate, but we can help you out. Here's £40 million for Branthwaite. Let's call it a day. That'd be lovely. But what I do want to say is I'm not sitting here happy about the fact that Everton are could be in tricky, muddy waters with this takeover being off, because obviously it's unfortunate for them, it's unfortunate for their fans. Not an Everton fan, but it is an unfortunate situation to be in. I can kind of feel the sympathy, but if we can benefit out of it and Everton can get still a decent fee for Branthwaite, because let's be honest, like 45, 50, well, 45 is too low, to be honest with you, but 50 plus million for Branthwaite, I think it'd be a decent deal. So I'd be there for it. A lot of Everton fans would massively turn their nose up at that and say that they should get 70 million at least, because of the likes of what's happened with, the ceiling that John Stones had when he was there at the time, the way that the market's changed, the way that other big British talents, the money they've gone for. But for me, I think 55 to 60 would be absolutely great business for them, honestly, and I think it'd be good business for us too. I think it'd be a good deal. So let's see what happens. Would you prefer to bring Branthwaite in, or would you prefer to bring De Ligt in? That's a question I ask for you guys. De Ligt's right-footed, right-sided centre-back, 24 years old, hasn't hit the heights that he was expected to early doors in his career, but he's a quality centre-back that Erik ten Hag knows very well, and it'd be a good addition to Manchester United. More experienced, for sure, and definitely more advanced in his career. Jarrad Branthwaite, 21 years old, left-footed, so can cover for Lisandro Martinez, can play right side as well, but predominantly is a left-footed, left-sided centre-back, and he's got a high ceiling at 21 years old, still has time to develop. Who would you prefer to go and get? Do you want to do a poll on that dead quick? We'll do a poll. De Ligt or Branthwaite, who would you rather go and get? A lot of people saying both in the chat. I mean, if you sold Maguire and Lindelof, you could get both, but I don't think there's a chance in hell that Manchester United signed 3 centre-backs this summer. We've signed 1. I really think we will sign a second, by the way, and I have a feeling it will be De Ligt. I think we do need to sign a second. 3, I think, is off the table, personally. Get in the comments down below. Most people are saying De Ligt. I really like De Ligt. I'd be happy if we signed De Ligt. When we first got linked to him, I was a bit like, oh, And then I kind of came around to the idea and I was like, you know what, that'd be a good signing for Manchester United. But I have to say, I do really like Branthwaite as well. I think both would be good additions. In terms of experience, I'd probably edge towards De Ligt, because as much as Branthwaite has got potential, and I really do think he's going to go on to have a really good career, he's only 21. You know, he's still progressing. And he's predominantly left-sided. We've got Lisandro Martinez, who is our starter on the left side, and he's super important to the way we play. Touch wood, he doesn't get injured. So Lisandro Martinez realistically is the starter there. And plus, you're in a situation where if you've got Yoro and Branthwaite, they are both young and both need time to develop. And yeah, Branthwaite's played Premier League football all last season and was good, to be fair. Obviously, he had a few mistakes and a few errors, and we all know about that. But you've got two young centre-backs there that still need time to learn and develop, whereas you've got Yoro, who is young and he's got a massively high ceiling. I'm so excited to see him play. But you also bring in a De Ligt. Even though he's 24, he's got so much experience and could slot straight in and kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. So De Ligt would be someone I would probably look at and think, you know what, he's probably the one I'd go for, personally. Get in the comments down below. I still like I still like Branthwaite, to be fair. Fun fact, my granddad was actually an Evertonian, well, on my other family's side, but didn't really know him that much, so I kind of do have it somewhere in my family. So do us a good deal for Branthwaite, please, if we do decide to go down that route. But if I was Manchester United, I would definitely test the waters with a bid. Miles Doig says, karma for Everton, silly games, silly prizes. I don't know the exact situation. We'd have to see more information come out about it. But David Ornstein literally put out, it puts Everton in a precarious situation financially. How do they get out of that? Sell an asset that you can get money for this summer. Like, who knows? Like, I think Branthwaite is going to have a good season next season, and I still think he'll hold value. But you never know what could happen in a year's time. I don't think Jarrad Branthwaite will be leaving Everton in a year's time for 70 million. Genuinely don't. So if Manchester United are going to put in a realistically good bid, and I'm talking, I know I was saying 45 before, etc., but I'm talking like 55 million. I think Everton, if they're in a financially precarious situation, really should genuinely consider that. Really should. And we know United want him. We know the huge fans. He's the first centre-back we actually fully put out there and bid for. So we do want him. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops. Keel Robinson says, Rabiot and Amrabat seems like a more viable option. I think I've read that one, but maybe not. I don't think we'll get Rabiot. I don't. And Amrabat is still waiting on Manchester United. I think we've said that it might be a slow process to him, but he is still waiting. Quinn Star says, if we don't get Ugarte, where do we go next? I mean, a lot of people in the chat will say Zubimendi. I think Zubimendi's got a release clause of 60 million euros, if I'm not wrong. I don't see why we don't explore that. If PSG are asking for 70 million euros for Ugarte, I want Ugarte, I like Ugarte, but we should definitely explore that Zubimendi deal if it is possible. But we've literally not been linked to him once, so I don't think he is on Manchester United's radar. Perkelinatori says, Everton buyers withdrew because of debt and the club is once again in dire straits. I do think the asking price for Branthwaite will drop soon. Yeah, literally what we were saying before. It is interesting that Everton might be in a position where they have to drop it, and obviously, it's not funny. Like I said, I feel my sympathy for them and the fans and stuff. And I actually went to university in Liverpool, and the Evertonians were all really sound. They all really were. Couldn't stand the Liverpool fans. Couldn't stand the red side of the city. But the Evertonians were decent, and I do feel for them because, you know, I do. But like I said, we could benefit from it. And if Everton hadn't have been so, we only want 70, I think it showed when there was articles coming out that Everton are shocked that Manchester United have paid that much for Yoro when, you know, Branthwaite was this much. And, you know, even Everton fans were like, why have you paid that for Yoro? You should have paid 70 for Branthwaite. And it's like, that to me screams, you want the money from Branthwaite and you're upset that we've not actually gone and spent the money. And they actually could do with selling him. I'm not saying Everton fans want Branthwaite to go because he's a very good player. They probably don't. But I definitely think the leaks coming out to the papers that Everton are shocked that Manchester United have paid that for Yoro when Branthwaite's asking price was this, to me is like, we actually would like to sell him for a decent price, to be fair, and now we're worried that's not going to happen. Our negotiations might have not worked out for the better there. That's what it comes across, because if you genuinely don't want to sell a player, like, you're not bothered if Manchester United go and buy someone else. But they probably kind of were thinking, you know, that's a deal we could end up getting done this summer and that could bring in a lot of money for us, but we'll see. Toad Kane says, then you put PSG in deadlock. Give us, oh, that's just come off the screen. Give us a cheaper deal or we move heaven and earth to get Neves. We do loan deal with option to buy for Neves instead. Neves isn't going to happen, but we do have to negotiate with PSG. Mike says United, United, United. And on the Branthwaite and Delit poll, let me get the results up on that. It's not coming through for it at the moment, if anyone can tell me what the results are. Anthony Murray says Branthwaite next year when Everton are relegated. Don't think Everton will get relegated, but like I said, a lot can happen in a year, and that's why, you know, if Everton do keep him, you know, so much can happen in a year. Someone can be a really hot prospect and the next year they're not. I think Branthwaite is a good player, and you know, I do think his stocks will still be high, but you're resting on him having another good season again, and that's, and plus, like you said, I don't think Everton will get relegated, but that is always a factor that could come into play, and then you definitely wouldn't get the money that you'd want for him. So we've got 82% of you saying that you'd rather get Delit. Wow, that is a landslide. And I did say, if it was question now, Beth, it's your decision. We either bring in Delit or Branthwaite this summer. Who you go for? I would probably say Delit, but I think they're both good players. Interesting stuff. Apparently, Lenny Yoro trained with the Manchester United squad today, and there is increasingly high chances that he could be involved in the match tomorrow against Rangers. Wow. That is quick time for Lenny Yoro. Like we said, he isn't going to the Olympics. He hasn't been part of international football. He's had his holiday, pre-season on, straight into training with Manchester United, which we love to see. A player is actually going to complete, a new signing, is actually going to complete a pre-season with us and be integrated into the squad. And the manager's had a chance to work with him before the first game of the season. Hallelujah. I never thought I'd see the day. Like, this is massive for Manchester United. This is how top clubs operate, by the way. But Manchester United never do this. We leave everything to the last minute and then people playing catch-up. Yoro, 18 years old, coming into the Premier League. Yes, he's got a lot of quality and I'm buzzing to have him, but he needs a good pre-season under his belt and he needs to get integrated with the squad and he needs time to work with Ten Hag. So the fact that he could be part of the squad tomorrow and he's already training, I mean, he's definitely going to go on the US tour, where there's 3 games on that, I think's massively, massively exciting. Like, we've signed a player and we could see him in a United shirt playing football tomorrow. Don't know if he will, I think it's unlikely, but he could travel and he could be part of the action. So that's exciting. That's something to look forward to, and that gets me excited about pre-season as well. Just a little bit of news coming in here. I don't know how accurate this source is, but I've just been sent it, and a lot of people are putting this out, and it is coming out from, I don't even know where this is from. It is coming out from the official account of the Al Riyadh newspaper, the Saudi newspaper, and apparently it is that Manchester United officials have told the PIF that they intend on keeping Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho and Casemiro. Bruno Fernandes, obviously. Sancho and Casemiro, like, Sancho, if, you know, Ten Hag and him could work it out and he put the work in and we could kind of start on that clean slate. He's still young. He could maybe come back from it. And, you know, I've just come to terms with the fact we are probably going to keep Sancho into next season. If we do, I'm going to be honest, I disagree with how things went down and I really don't like the way he handled things, but I'm going to give him a clean slate. I'm going to support him as a player of the football club because that's what I do, and I'm a United fan and I hope he does well. Casemiro, as good as he was in his first season, for me, I don't see a way we keep him next season. I just don't. Like, the guy, he's coming to the end of his career, and he was awful last season. And that's not me exaggerating. He was awful. Like, genuinely awful. And he's on 300 grand a week. You can't have someone on 300 grand a week on the bench week in, week out, which he would be, because it would be detrimental to the team to start him, honestly, in my opinion. So we've got to try and find a way to shift Casemiro. Maybe that's coming out because we've realised there's actually not as much interest in him than we thought. So we're trying to play it off like, oh yeah, we are going to keep him. But I wouldn't read too much into that sauce. I absolutely do think Manchester United is still trying to move Casemiro on to the Saudi League, to be honest with you. Calipus says, hi Beth, what do you think about the leaks around... Nope. Is that a player? Or are you trying to... Okay, it's an act... Right, okay. I thought someone was trying to catch me out with another... If anyone saw the show, the super chat, Barry won't repeat the last name. I thought that could be another one of them chats, and I weren't actually going to get caught out on it. But to be honest with you, I don't know much about that player, Calipus, but it'd be interesting, and I'm always for bringing exciting youth talents into the youth team, because Man United are really good at developing them, especially under under Erik ten Hag and everything that the academy has grown so much in the last few years. Not just Erik ten Hag, but like Nick Cox and everyone that's doing their bit there. So always up for bringing good youth into the academy for sure. KK says, I'd rather go with De Ligt while Shaw could be left-sided centre-back as a backup for the Butcher. Yeah, we've got to sign a left-back though. If we sign a left-back, that's the thing. If we get De Ligt in and we get Yoro in, you've got two really good right-sided centre-backs. De Ligt, who's a bit more experienced, Yoro, who's got a super high ceiling, and also he's already pretty good as well. Very good as well. And then you've got Lisandro Martinez for left-sided centre-back. We know how good Shaw is at left-sided centre-back, and it's less demanding on the body than playing left-back. If we get a decent left-back in, and I'm talking a first-team left-back, because that's what Man United should be aiming for, then you've got a situation where if Martinez, God forbid, did get injured, you've got a first-team left-back who can play left-back, and you've got Luke Shaw who can play left-sided centre-back really well too. So that could definitely be a route that Manchester United go down until next summer at least anyway, while we're trying to kind of balance the funds. A lot of people saying that they agree on the Casemiro front. Not now, Dave says Casemiro awful, but was playing out of position. He played out of position for the last few weeks of the season, but there was big periods of that season where he was playing as a CDM and was terrible. Espen Harstad says, if Casa was awful last season, what was Sancho? Well, Sancho didn't play, did he? Sancho didn't play. And I'm not saying, I said my piece about Sancho at the time. I don't like the way that was handled, but at the end of the day, with Sancho, you could potentially, if we did end up keeping him, there is potential you could get a tune out of him. He's still young, and hopefully he'll learn from everything that happened, and there is potential there. For me, Casemiro, I just think his legs are gone. I respect the player. He's been one of the best CDMs that I've ever seen play. He's won so much in the game. He's had a fantastic career. He was excellent. He was probably second or third player of the year in his first season. Rashford, Martinez and Casemiro were the best three players. We all knew that. But last season, I've not seen a fall off like it. Genuinely. It was like when you get to the top of the roller coaster at Blackpool Pleasure Beach and it just dips straight back down. That's what it was like. And there's no going back up that hill for Casemiro, because I think he's at an age now where I think he's just declining as a football player, unfortunately. So I can't fault. Apparently he's a great leader around the squad. Obviously he's had a brilliant career. If this was Casemiro, a few years ago, I'd be absolutely ecstatic to have him playing for Manchester United. But I think it is time for him to move on, and that's not me trying to be disrespectful. It's just the truth. It really is just the truth. And I think people have forgot about it a bit because we've not had football in a long time. And obviously Casemiro didn't play in Copa America for Brazil. But I think once that season starts, very quickly you'll see that Casemiro is not up to where we need to be to play as holding midfield for Manchester United. I really do. But anyway, look everyone, Thank you so much for watching the afternoon show. Quite a lot to get into there as well, and good discussions all round. The poll ended on 83% would want to sign De Ligt over Branthwaite. So that's interesting. Big landslide there in the chat. I think a lot of people are just put off on Branthwaite because of the price. But like I said, a good player, got to get him at the right price if we do. But definitely the takeover being off at Everton opens the doors for renegotiation between Manchester United and Everton. Let's see what happens with the Ugarte stuff. Let's see how that story develops. INEOS have been moving pretty quickly and pretty swiftly as well. So let's see how that goes. I think it's going to be tough, the negotiation with PSG, but I do think we'll end up getting that over the line. Keep an eye out on McTominay as well. There is opportunities for him to leave Manchester United. That could go hand in hand with the Ugarte deal. Any breaking news, we will bring it to you right here on the United Stand. Pretty sure the squad should be announced soon, for the travelling squad anyway, for the game tomorrow, which is taking place in Edinburgh, if I'm not wrong. So that'll be exciting. Another pre-season game tomorrow with all the watch-alongs and everything like that. But look, everyone, if there's no more breaking news, have a lovely rest of your Friday. Mark will be back for the 8 p.m. show. And we'll see you tomorrow for the second pre-season game for Manchester United, where Lenny Yoro could be with the squad. It's exciting times. But look, everyone, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.